We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity and the White Paper Library. And what a privilege it is for me to be asked by Voices of Integrity um, to share like the history of the WIFN, what's in it for me. So the concept of WIIFM is what's in it for me is the concept that most people, most human beings have never considered. And that is selfishness can be good and selflessness can be bad. And so it's interesting. It's an interesting white paper. Oh, by the way, when you read the white paper, if something doesn't make sense, you want to go ahead and email. You want to email and let the person know or whoever, there's probably an email in the white paper. If you have updates or you have questions, you don't understand, something's confusing, or you go ahead and do what's in the white paper, you internalize it, you do it, and it doesn't work. Those are the best kind. So what questions do you have on the white paper? It's probably the most important thing. You actually get to connect with either the author of the white paper directly or somebody that they've trained and mentored. And so this one was actually written by me, and the concept was actually my oldest daughter 15 years ago from now, um, is when she was married. And she and her husband came back from their honeymoon, and and uh, they were all over each other physically, which again, I'm a big believer and that's good in marriage. Like, but I'm like, enjoy yourselves, have a fun time. You guys are young and married, man, have so much fun intimacy wise, but get a room. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I'm probably being a little dramatic, but I remember thinking, and so that would have been 25 years my wife and I had been married. And I got to thinking, they both think they're selfless. They both think they're physically and emotionally, mentally intimate. They're giving to one another, but they're both selfish and they don't even realize it. And Cheryl and Elaine, you can both jump in at any time.
I was
And
just going to ask. That's what I still struggle with a little bit. I mean, even if I've went through this paper, is to make sure that I'm not selfish for just me. In other words, I want to be a good selfish.
right. And that's where you look at, well, are other people benefiting from it?
Okay. So that's basically the question you ask yourself, if there is a question on that, I guess.
Well, there should be a question. There should always be a question. And it's more in depth than that. Like it's more in depth than that. It's more complicated than that. It's like, it's like, okay, um, well, just because somebody benefits from it, and again, this one here, um, we want this to be family oriented, you know, so we want this to be family oriented. And so we'll try to be careful with what we say on all of it. This one is probably the most one that goes into the physical intimacy because it was born out of that, where I thought, wait a minute. My dad, if you don't know me, my dad, is a pastor, missionary. So I grew up as a pastor's kid, Baptist, very, very conservative. And I thought, so God built us to be selfish. And I'd never thought of that thought before. So I'd have been 30 or 25, no, 30, 60. So I'd have been 35 years old, 45 years old at that time. And I never thought about that. Like God designed us to be selfish. So there's the perspective on time, you know, so if you look at somebody having an affair, that's selfish. But two people are, you know, two people are, they're both gaining benefit. So, so it's okay. No, it's not. It's not, but they're both too enjoying it. I mean, I'm enjoying it. And when I'm having an affair, she's enjoying it. Like we're both enjoying it, but it's not, you can't look at, well, just two people are enjoying it. And you can't look at it just in the short term. It's in the long term. And so it's complicated.
I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true that both people, when somebody's having an affair, that both people are like what you just said, as far as there's two people enjoying it or whatever, because I don't know.
So
There's dishonesty.
What Cheryl is saying is, I understand what Cheryl is saying. She does not understand what I'm saying, which is okay. This is why we have these discussions. This is why we have the podcast. So, Cheryl, so you'll find that I don't disagree with people because, you know, disagreeing is kind of stupid. It's kind of arrogant. So what I'm saying, and when I disagree, and Cheryl didn't say, I don't think she said she disagrees. She has a different perspective than I do, but I can see her perspective totally. I could explain her perspective maybe better than she explains her perspective. What Cheryl is she's a driver. What she's doing is she's seeing in the future, and she's right. I believe. I believe she's right. What I'm saying that both of the individuals think they're benefiting from it. They think they're
Yeah.
enjoying it in the moment. They're living in the moment. So when we disagree with somebody, what we're doing is we're saying we understand what they're saying. Shoot, they don't even understand what they're saying. Like, and we don't understand what we're saying. Like, Mark, do you understand what you're saying? Maybe not. That's the benefit of being 60. You start realizing, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like, I know some parts of what I'm saying, but there's deep insight and significance of what we say and we don't even realize it, or there's deep stupidity in what we're saying and we don't even realize it. So my wife and I just celebrated our 40th anniversary. And when I was 19 years old, before we got married, I said to my wife, I said, honey, a number of things. I said, if we can't be happy with what we've got, no matter what we get, we won't be happy. I was 19 years old. Like, that has a lot more significance to me now than it did then. But it was an observation I had of life where people, all the wealth, all the nice things, the nice cars, all of those things, they don't bring happiness. So on WIFM, it's complicated. It's not easy. You have to wrestle with it. Each of the different personalities is going to go ahead and have pain and pleasure. So we have pain and we have pleasure. And each of these, the opposite. And so what gives me pleasure as a driver personality is going to give my wife pain. What gives her pleasure is going to give me pain, but not directly, it's indirectly. So what gives me pleasure, what gives me tremendous joy is progress, speed, getting ahead, profit, speed, getting ahead, accomplishing something. My wife does not really care about that so much. What does she care about? She cares about people being happy. That's what gives her pleasure, is people being happy. And so they're contradictory. And so she hates conflict. I don't really enjoy it, but I know it's necessary to go ahead. It's like working out. It's like working out. Like, you like the benefits of working out, but you don't like the pain or the sore muscles. I played 3.5 hours of pickleball yesterday. I am sore today. I am very, very sore. I like playing pickleball. And I had played 3.5 hours on Wednesday too, 2 days ago. Three, and it's like it's sore on top of sore. So we don't like the pain that it comes to grow, but we like that. And so she's, she just had her birthday, 2 days ago, her 60th birthday. And so the expressive loves, lots of new things and ideas. The analytic, they like understanding things. They don't want to move. They don't like making mistakes. The driver and the expressive makes tons of mistakes and they're okay with it because to accomplish something, I'm going to have to make mistakes. To have something
Mhm.
new and exciting, I'm going to have to make mistakes. These two, these two personalities, they just know it's okay to make mistakes. These two personalities don't like to. These two personalities make mistakes in front of everybody. Everybody knows they're making mistakes. These two people, they make just as many mistakes as the driver and the expressive. They just don't know they're making mistakes. They can't learn because the mistakes they make, they're the most serious kind of mistakes, is where you're making a mistake and you don't know. So
Mhm.
failure, somebody said yesterday, about failure. They say, well, I don't want to fail. The only way you can fail is fail to try or fail to learn. So in WIFM, if somebody says, well, I understand that concept, it's like I wrote the white paper. I don't think I understand. Yes, I understand it more now than when I wrote it many years ago, but I still don't understand all of the nuances. As soon as we go ahead and think we understand something, we stop learning. That's what the whole white paper is about. It's
Yeah.
connected back in to the quantum feeling model. And so feelings are all about entitlement, self-righteousness, and being a victim. And the more we feel entitled, the more entitlement, the more self-righteous. This one here, WFIFM, if somebody internalizes it, they will wipe out self-righteousness and they will be humble. And when we're humble, we never stop. We never stop learning. As soon as we think we understand something, we stop learning. We're not searching. We're not looking. And self-righteousness, and it, again, grew up very conservative Christian Baptist. I'm telling you, they're some of the most self-righteous people in the world. They think they got it figured out. They think they understand God. Really? Like, wow. Like, that's not so. I know what this is. 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 And so it's designed, if somebody internalizes WIFM, self-righteousness is gone forever because everything we do is selfish. The question is, how do we go ahead and make sure that it doesn't hurt us or other people in the long term? And how do I go ahead and make sure that I'm helping many other people with my actions as I can? Sure, I know you got to run here. Any questions or thoughts you have on this?
Um, no.
So getting other people around you, I would love to have your daughter read this, the white paper, WIFM, and have her share her thoughts. I'd love for her to get some of her friends
Mhm.
and other people that to, you know, different age groups. And I'd love for them, like, what do they think about it? Because I think that the younger we get to people and help them with this thought, the less
Yeah.
likely they're going to become self-righteous, the less likely they're going to become entitled, and the less likely they're going to be victims. They're going to be thankful, humble, and take personal ownership, which I think is what's going to give them success in life. Thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Elaine, anything else that you have?
No, there's just with the WIFM, there's there's such a fine line to walk, to know which direction you're headed or not headed. That's something that has to be done, in my perception, very cautiously.
It is. It is. I don't, I think it's being aware.
Mm,
I think it's being aware. I think one of the hardest things as a parent is how do you teach your children bulletproof self-confidence, but then to teach them amazing humility. You know, I discovered or was given my life vision when I was 8 years old. And so my life vision is to touch every single person in the world, one person at a time, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a really fun and exciting way. That's 8+ billion people. It's very clear. So for 52 years, I've known what I was created to do and be. When I think back on that, I was at Camp Fairwood in Wisconsin. And I don't know how, because Baptists, are trained from birth. God doesn't talk to you. So I jokingly say I've never seen him in a vision or a dream. Like God just doesn't do that anymore. That's how Baptists are. Like God can't do that. I thought he could do everything. Not that. Anyways, I don't know, but you know, God said to me, my creator said to me, Mark, you're an average to below average kid when I was 8 years old. And so I think that teaches humility. You're just like everybody else and probably a little, not as smart, not as good as other people. When your creator goes ahead and teaches you that at 8 years old, you never forget it. Or do you? Interesting, right? And then what he said is, then my creator said, if you're a good steward with what I give you, you'll impact the entire world. Two things. You're not any better, Mark, than anybody else. Matter of fact, you're below other people. You're average or below average. And when I got that, what happened next? I'm 8 years old. I don't know. I just went back to eating my treat. And so I think as a parent, and as an adult, it's understanding that we're not any better than anybody else. Doesn't matter how much money we have, doesn't matter our education, doesn't matter where we live, doesn't matter who we are, doesn't matter any of that. We're average to below average. What a wonderful thing to understand and internalize. And then the second thing is, if we're a good steward with what we're given, we'll impact the whole world. What does that mean? I think that's a lifetime journey. I think it's a forever journey. And so I think it's an awareness, Elaine. It's an awareness. Other questions or thoughts that you have?
No.
Any ideas on how to get people that read this to internalize it?
Uh, Not really. And I know it's helped quite a bit, but I don't know how to teach it to somebody else, or except for them to just really, really absorb every word that they read, and um, think about the meaning that every word has, or the impact it has for somebody else, somebody else that's reading it.
What's interesting is it's like your kids. Like if you or if Marla like were to read it to them and ask them what they think it means or how they think it applies to them, and then to write a children's book on that. So children, You know, it reminds me back of Olivia and Brienne, my nieces, who are 5 and 7 years old. And I said, Uncle Mark and Jim Rohn, he's a famous, first motivational speaker in the world, really. I mean, officially, it goes back before then. But he said, I don't know how to motivate people, so I find motivated people. And I went on a journey to try to figure out how to find motivated, or how to figure out how to motivate people that weren't motivated. I'm still on that journey. And I asked them, I said, so Uncle Mark was wondering, they're 5 and 7 years old. And Jim Rohn, he's a world-renowned speaker, amazing, amazing motivator. But he said he didn't know how to motivate people, so he founded Motivated People. And Brienne, bless her heart, she's 7 years old. She says, "Whoa, Uncle Mark, the way they motivate me in Girl Scouts to sell cookies is to tell me stories, and then everything, like the best, the most motivational people are the ones that are storytellers, and kids are storytellers." And so the children's version of this, and children have this ability. I mean, you think about a 7-year-old. First, she had to know what the word motivation meant, and I mean, it was instant. She knew how to, her brain processed. And I know some really smart people, world leaders, been invited to the White House. I mean, I know some really smart people, and they could not articulate it like a 7-year-old. It was insane. I mean, it was just like, Uncle Mark, you're not that smart. She didn't say that, but that's what I heard. And she's right. Like, she knew. And so it's almost like, as an adult, we get cluttered, our brains get cluttered with all this stuff, but the innocence of a child, they can get stuff that we can't. They can simplify it, condense it down into something that's so simple. It's like, that's pretty simple. So she had to understand what the word motivation meant. Then she had to say, when have I been motivated? Selling Girl Scout cookies. And how did they motivate me? By telling me stories. Like the brain, you just think of the brain and how it functions in a small child. And so, yeah, I'm excited about telling the stories behind each of these, because if somebody internalizes this here, there's just so many more stories and so many more things. So share this with others. Join the Life GPS group for sure. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.